What's going on, guys? Back here again with another XFL team preview. Filming these kind of back to back. The grind doesn't stop. Um, Once again, before we get into this, I wanted to quickly touch on the news that the Arena Football League is coming back. All we've heard, I think, so far is that it's coming back in 2024. There'll be 16 teams. Very exciting. I love Arena Football. The Arena Football video game is one of the best video games of all time. Throwing it off the net is really fun, and it's pretty over the top. I'm a big Philadelphia Soul fan. I went to the conference championship in 2016. The year they won the Arena Bowl. I hope they bring back Dan Radabod, Darius Money Reynolds. Hope Philly comes back with the team, but definitely excited to see Arena Football make it a comeback, and that there's an appetite for some of these non-NFL leagues. So let's get into the St. Louis Battlehawks. Just before I show the rosters that I'm looking at, these are not created by me. These are created by a Twitter username at XFL Analyst. I'll link their Twitter info down below. Big shout out to them. They're constantly updating the roster with changes. I'm constantly reporting as well on XFL transactions. It's been super helpful to me trying to figure out who's on what team, who's going where. The XFL doesn't do the best job of updating fans. It's kind of all over the place. So it's nice to, especially with a brand new league, essentially, basically starting from scratch. It's nice to have someone doing that work. So be sure to give them a follow. Again, I'll link their info down below. So let's get into this. Okay, so this St. Louis Battlehawks. The theme for them, quite frankly, on offense is experience. And that's obvious with their quarterback, AJ McCarron. I believe two-time national champion, definitely won one national champion. Great college quarterback, drafted the fifth round in 2015, played for the Bengals, started a playoff game for the Bengals, actually, in that same season, I believe. I don't know what he's going to look like. We haven't seen him play in a little bit of time. I can't remember the last time he played, probably for at least 3 or 4 years ago. Definitely on the older side, but very experienced guy. Clearly has played in big games, steadying presence. I think that's helpful in these leagues to have someone who's kind of been through the grind. And for these guys who want to make the NFL, it's a good leader. So I think that'll be helpful. His performance, I think he'll be solid. I think he definitely can play at the next at that NFL level. He wasn't great there. His arm talent's not elite. It's not super mobile, which makes me a little nervous, but we'll see. But yeah, I think, and then Brian Hill, who has played for a few teams in his NFL career, drafted in the fifth round in 2017. I forget how many yards and touchdowns he has, but he has got some NFL experience. I think he has 3 NFL touchdowns and almost 1,000 rushing yards he has in his career. So again, experienced guy. And then you look at their receivers, Marcel Aitman and Steven Mitchell. Both the guys have NFL catches. Jordan Thomas and Jalen Smith both have NFL catches. So very experienced skill positions. And if not super, it's tough to get film on these guys because they're a little bit older too. And they haven't played at that level in a while. Some of these guys have been on practice squads mostly or haven't played much. So it's a little bit tough to get a feel for what they look like now. They've clearly proven they can play at that level. At one point, we'll see how that looks. I think the receiver, I like that Aitman's 6'4". I like Davis 6'4", kind of 5'10" guy. Also got to give a shout out to Austin Prohl, who's probably looking to be a slot guy. I assume he makes the Battlehawks. If he doesn't, someone will pick him up. He had the first 2 touchdowns for my Seattle Dragons in the first go around the XFL. Heady slot guy, quick, just a classic slot guy. Definitely likes being in the slot and good player. And yeah, I'm glad he's coming back to the league. He was a good player in the first go around. He had 2 touchdowns that first game against the DC Defenders in 2020. Hope he can do it again. And then again, offensive line play. What you can see here is just all the ages. They only have 1 lineman who's younger than 25. 2, I guess. 3. But in terms of like their top guys, guys who I expect to start, they're a pretty veteran group, which is nice. Hope that might make some of that cohesion. They don't have a ton of experience in some of these guys, but being on the older side, maybe they can, come together a little more quickly, have some of that experience, and maybe come together quick. And some of these other teams that might have more quote unquote flashy linemen, but just don't have the experience yet, which is just how it goes. I first want to get into before we get into defense, I want to talk about Anthony Becht. He's the Battlehawks head coach. I was Wikipedia up here. So he played tight end in the NFL, drafted by the Jets in the first round in 2000. So only 45 years old. He's actually from Drexel Hill, went to Monsignor Bonner, which isn't too far from me. Doesn't have has a pretty solid playing career. And was an honorable mention All-American. You can see his NFL stats down here. He's got 21 NFL touchdowns, was legit. His only coaching experience is from the AAF, for San Diego Fleet in 2019. That makes me a little bit nervous. I'm not sure what else he's been doing. I'm not sure if he's coaching on some of the lower levels or what, but it makes me a little bit nervous. I think that's a good thing that they have someone like Adrian McCarron, who's a veteran guy who can lead them. Because being a first-time head coach, I don't care what level you're at, and first-time professional coach at the very least, that's not an easy task. There's a lot of things to manage. It's one thing to be a coach of tight, like a skill position coach or any other level, but definitely an adjustment period for him. Yeah, no other coaching experience. I want to make sure it's correct. So yeah, I think that's gonna be interesting. I think it's really good they have AJ McCarron, a guy who has been around the block a little bit and can kind of being a steadying presence. Defensively, they are on the younger side. They have some older, mixed, no huge names. Quentin Meeks has some NFL experience. I forget how many tackles, but he's had some tackles. Freedom Akim Aladu. He played for the Philadelphia Stars, for those who remember. Is might have been the first pick after the quarterbacks for the Philadelphia Stars, if I'm not mistaken. Not a ton of big names. Travis Feeney. Not a ton of NFL experience, but has some as well. He got drafted in 2016. Had some injuries though, so hasn't played a ton. Not a ton of NFL experience, but a little bit on the older side. So that's what I mean. They have some of these guys who are a little bit older, bounce around in practice squads a little bit, have a cup of coffee in the NFL. So they had the talent at one point. What is that? Is it better to have someone who's 23 who hasn't quite lived up to that potential yet, but could? Or is it better to have someone who's a little bit older who's shown they can, but might have regressed a little bit or got injured, whatever? So I think that's the case with a lot of this roster. One notice thing for the special teams, Sterling Hoffricher, he was the punter for the Falcons. He got drafted. He was a drafted punter, which is already rare. In the 7th round of 2020. I think he got hurt in 2021 and got released then. It's kind of bounced around since. Having a good punter, to be honest, like I don't expect their offense to be very dynamic. So having a decent punter who can hopefully flip the field for them, it is a huge advantage, and they have some experience on defense, they're all over the place on defense, but anytime you can get a punter that has some experience that maybe can, help you out, I think is big for any of these teams. There we go. So yeah, my assessment of the Battlehawks, I don't think they're going to be terrible. I don't think they're going to be amazing. I see them as maybe a fringe playoff team, depending on, how things go. I could see them, if they play well, maybe they peak out at 7-3, maybe if everything goes right, probably more like a 6-4 team in my opinion. AJ McCarron, I think, is the big question mark. If he shows he can play and really be stabilizing, that can help you. But if he can't be a dynamic, and I don't know how many dynamic playmakers they have, I think their defense will be solid. Again, we need to break them down too much, but I think they have solid quarterback play, okay receivers, solid, okay running back play, and an inexperienced head coach. That sounds like about a 500 team to me, if I'm being honest. Again, haven't looked at the schedule, not predicting that just yet, but I'm guessing they're about a 500 team, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, I guess the floor isn't terribly low. The ceiling's not terribly high to me. But Adrian McCarron proves he can take care of the ball. That could win you 1 or 2 extra games he might not win because some of these other quarterbacks don't have as much experience as he does at the collegiate level or the pro level, quite frankly. So that's what I think about the Battlehawks. Not looking for a great year, not looking for a terrible year, but who knows? I'm always willing to be wrong. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell button. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Seattle or St. Louis Battlehawks. Excuse me, geez Louise. What you think of them. And if you have anything else we want me to cover, thanks for watching.